What's up guys, it's Adrian Castillo, and it's been some time since I've made a video like this. Actually, to be honest, this will probably be the first video I'll be making specifically going on this YouTube channel. If you know me, I usually do video of cars. Look at the past videos of the channels, but this one's a little more different. This is more like me talking to the camera, getting used to it. Topic of why we're sitting here is, well, whatever happened to my 2016 Subaru WRX. It's been a couple months and I haven't really talked about it on social media, but here we are at the very end of it, and let me explain everything that has happened involving that Subaru. I've had that Subaru ever since about 3 years ago. It's essentially the car that I started fresh in the car scene with and got me into cars. My first real little tuner car scene car. I love the thing, and I grew up with the car itself. Unfortunately, the car is now gone. Before we get to what exactly happened with the car, I just had to express my love for the car. I grew up with it. There's so much that has happened. Well, growing alongside it, I started my brand nose end alongside with the car, and aside from I blew up the clutch twice, went through a transmission rebuild and went through an engine rebuild, but all of it I've learned so much working on, became more mechanically inclined working on cars, learned how to build an engine, I learned how to take it apart, do it all myself with my father. It was a lot learned with that car, and I did a lot with it. But just the story, it was one night I was taking my girlfriend home at about midnight, and we're sitting at a red light, and this Jeep Wrangler just comes real close behind me. I'm looking at my rearview mirror, and I just brushed it off like, all right, maybe he wasn't paying attention, he was on his phone, I'm at the red light, where am I gonna go? 10 seconds later, the light is still red, and we're sitting here, and I guess he just hits the gas and just rams the back of my Subaru. It knocked us forward, and I have photos of the incident I'll probably put up on the screen, but he rammed right into us, and eventually we went through that whole insurance ordeal, took it to a shop, and more knowledge on the Subaru. The Subaru is a rebuilt title car. Essentially, we bought the car from Copart with rear end damage. We cut the rear end, and we found a donor STI rear end, and we welded on the new rear end onto the WRX, so it already has welds and everything from repairs. Essentially, it already has repairs from the previous, when we first bought the car and converted it from salvage title to rebuilt title car. It was never a clean title car. Then essentially, after the whole insurance ordeal, we took it to a body shop for an estimate. We went to a local shop here in Indiana, and they quoted us out for rear end repair, and I wasn't necessarily happy with the estimate we were given, so I was like, yeah, no, this isn't right, these numbers aren't right, there's definitely got to be way more. So I took it to another shop, and they agreed to take apart the rear end, and they took apart the rear end, and gladly we opted for that option, because they took the rear end apart to find that all the previous weld repairs and such from the first incident when we cut out the rear end, it was all undone, and it had to get redone. So on top of the rear end damage from getting hit by the Wrangler, the previous damage from the welds were essentially, the car needed a whole new rear end, and that shot up the estimate way up there. And then after a few back and forth for 3 months, the car was hit in May, and about just barely a couple weeks ago, here in September, or no, end of August, they finally agreed to total the car out. It was considered a total loss. I took the whole car complete back to stock. I still have some parts here right in front of me, like the J-pipe, the AOS, the front intercooler. And actually, I do have the old Copart listing here. I left my keychain, unfortunately. I totally forgot to take it. It was completely my fault. I saw it on the Copart listing. I was like, no, I forgot to take that. See if I could find a new one. The car has been gone for about a month, and I do miss it. I actually have my old license plate here. Let me go grab it. One thing I made sure to keep regarding before it got towed was my old license plate. Funny enough, I haven't paid the registration on it, but this is the old license plate. I made sure to keep it. It's memories. Hold on to this, because the plan is, with time, with where life goes, I do 100% plan on getting another one in the future, because as much as I hated, not as much as I hated, but as much as work as I put into rebuilding the engine, going through the clutches, dropping the trans, replacing the trans, it was my very first car. I loved it, and I do definitely want another one, because it looked good. It looked really good, despite the engine and all that, but it was a beautiful car. It was lapis blue pearl and everything. Oh man, it was a gorgeous car. in terms of the question is, all right, so the Subaru's gone, so what's next? Actually, I have a Mazda 3, which I will not be modifying. It is my daily. But we actually have a car that we bought about 10 years ago, and it's been sitting in a garage, and I just never touched it. So I was like, okay, so the Subaru's gone, and I'm just itching to just work on something, just to work on it, just to like just build something. Like, I don't know, I love working on cars. I love doing car related things. So I started working on this guy. It doesn't run. Well, at least it didn't run. It was dirty, it's dusty, it's been sitting in a garage for 10 years. We bought it in Houston, Texas for $1,000. Like, it wouldn't go in gear, the brakes wouldn't press, and it wouldn't start, but it would turn over. So I bought a new brake booster, master cylinders for the clutch and the brakes, put the little tune-up kit, swap out the spark plugs, oil, all the tune-up type of things, and she started right up. Eventually we took her home, and with no brakes, and here she lies, and she's right here next to me, and she's absolutely gorgeous. So for further ado, I have to introduce to you the new car that we'll be building and working on. It's very different from a Subaru in terms of time and style and color. I will always love the Subaru, and it would always be in my heart, but this I am so excited for. So for further ado, I must introduce to you my 1976 Datsun 280Z. This is my Datsun. So we've had it for a long time, and I just finally decided to start working on it. It's been some time since all those repairs I mentioned were done, and I'm kind of just like driving it around, just enjoying it, because it is currently almost the end of September, and here in Chicago the weather sucks, and that snow is coming in, and that cold weather is going to come in, so it's only a matter of time before the car has to be put away, because I'm not driving this kind of winter. If anything, if you guys know anything about Nissan Zs, the old ones, the S30s, is they all have rust if you haven't been restored them already. This one's fairly not too rusty. It has rust, but it's not horrible. I think the floor pans are not as rusty as other Zs I've seen. It's a very clean Z considering it's from Houston, Texas, but over the winter I do plan on maybe getting some of that rust cut out. I have a lot of time over the winter, so if all goes well financially and time-wise, this car will look completely different next summer. But for now, I'm just kind of enjoying it, just driving around the neighborhood, going around to the local meets and such, before it's time to put her away and not drive her for months. All stock, L28 still on it. It does have some type of aftermarket exhaust on it. Well, not aftermarket. It does have like a muffler delete welded on the rear end. I do want to get rid of these horrible bumpers. I'm not a fan of them, but yeah, this is the Z. I'm not sure the yellow it is. It's not OEM. The OEM color is a blue color. It's like I need to inform myself on what the OEM colors are. It's painted over the yellow, and I do plan on repainting it 100%. I'm kind of torn between this yellow that it currently is now to a nice silver, like a nice gunmetal silver. Between those two, it would look beautiful with some flares and such. Oh man, there's so much I have planned with this. In terms of like the modifications to the car, I do want to keep it time correct, keep it not, how would I say it? I don't want to rice it out. I want to make it look really good. I believe I have good taste. I would like to think so. Maybe I don't like to say it. I don't explain myself. Obviously, I have a few. Oh, you know what? I'll just put a couple of examples on the screen of some examples that I would love to see this Z to look like. But I do have a lot planned with this car. I plan to document the entire thing, the entire journey, just to have it on the internet to always look back to. And I've always wanted to talk to a camera. If you don't know me, I work as a video editor full-time, so I essentially edit YouTube videos it's my career, but I never thought to like talk to a camera. I can shoot and be behind the camera, but I've always had trouble being on the other side of the camera talking to it, and I hope to change that. So that's why we're doing this, to grow in myself with YouTube and content creation alongside growing with the car. So I plan to pump out a bunch of content for this car, and I want to keep it as entertaining as possible for you guys as well. So if you have any questions, you guys can always leave them in the comments. I respond to everything, We'll post on Instagram, TikTok, and everything as well. We'll probably have that link down below. But yeah, I appreciate you guys for watching this video. Obviously, it's pretty short. It's not that engaging, but I would appreciate you guys leave a like, help out with the algorithm and such. I would love to have an audience to share my mind, share my builds, share the documentation of this car. So yeah, well, I'll see you guys next time. It'll be, I hope to try to plan for uploads at least once a week. I do have a couple of videos filmed, so I will pump those out, get them ready and such. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and you guys have a absolutely amazing night. See you guys. Peace.